Alright, I let off there with the firing orders and the 3.8, 3.3 computer and the pain in the ass with the 3.7. Alright, here's the firing orders for these engines. This is for the 3.3. Waste fire. Coil number 1 fires. At the same time, it fires here because it's the waste fire. So 4 cycles, you count. 1, 2, 3, 4. These 2 cylinders are your battle buddies, swim partner, whatever you want to call it. One's firing, one's on exhaust. This is the waste spark. Harley, same way. The old big twins. Same shit. 1 coil, 2 plugs. The second coil fires in the group. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 and 5. Right here. That's coil 2. That's how it's wired. Coil 1 fires. Coil 2 fires. Coil 3, there you go. 3 and 6. 3 and 6. Look down here. This is the shit I was saying about the 3.7. Coil 2 is these 2. So all they did was they flip-fucked around for whatever reason. You can use the van coil or the Viper coil, but how the coil's wired, this is why the numbers don't line up. They're backwards. Here's the firing order for the 3.7. 1 and 4, like I said. Coil number 1 always fires first. Number 4 is his battle buddy, right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Second hit, cylinder 6. Right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 3. 5, 2, 5 and 2. This is the firing order, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But the 3.7 uses coil over plug. Does that matter? Not really. You got 6 wires. So what I did the first time is after I figured all this horse shit out, here's the 4.0. See what I mean? 1 and 6. These are your battle cylinders. Coil 1. So, to get any of these ones to work, the first coil in the group, you got to hook that to these cylinders. This is why you got to do the coil pack mod, Viper mod, whatever you got to do. You got to go off the cylinder numbers of the PCM. So as long as it thinks it's firing this cylinder, it don't give a shit if it's long, sideways, upside down, V-shape. As long as this computer fires this cylinder and it lines up with this cam and crank, life's good. Same with the fuel injectors. That's where you get into it, was these waste fire systems here. They fire this coil twice. It fires on 1 and 6. Look down here. Here's the 3.3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It hits 1, 2, 3, obviously. 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Look up here. 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. But in the 4.0, that coil fires twice. It fires here and 2. 1 and 2. Here you go. So the first coil to fire is 1, 2, 3. There's your buddies right there, the 1 and 6. That's coil 1. But hey, shit ain't right. What do you mean? Here we go. The first thing that fires, 1 and 6, 5 and 2, 3 and 4, 6 and 1. 2 and 5, 3 and 4 again. See it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The same order. A little fucked up. These notes, I've had them for a while. But it'll work. But where you get screwed up at is in the 3.7. You got to watch this coil here. Make sure you can't just plug this in. This computer you cannot just plug in to the van coil, or I mean your coil log, because your coil log's hardwired and it'll fire them wrong and you can't switch the wires around. As long as you can get this computer to fire these cylinders in the right order, it'll work. Put this coil over plug for the 3.7. So all I did was I took coil number 4, coil number 1, number 4. I twisted those wires together, and I called that coil number 1. I took the cylinder coils 6 and 3. I twisted them 2 wires together. I called that coil number 2. Coil number 3, 5 and 2. Hooked them together. That's how they fired. So coil number 1, my new coil number 1 went to coil number 1 here. But the van is wired already. 1 and 4. Them your battle buddies. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how it worked. They ended up working perfectly with the coil log. Fuel injectors, another story. But same difference. You got to switch shit around. I mean, I got some shit wrote everywhere how I did it. I mean, I considered the first one here. This is your odd bank. Bank 1 on your inline. Bank 2, 246. This is what the computer 3.7 thinks. So when you have your 4 oxygen sensors in your 4.0, I didn't switch mine around. They barely work. I live in a non-emission state. The yellow light can shine as long as it wants. But it's nice to be able to go into closed loop because this 4.0 drinks gas no matter what computer you've got running it. So I just fiddled around with my oxygen sensors till it ran the best. And it worked. And it's running right now. The knock sensor issue. The 3.7s computers here, they got knock sensors. The Grand Cherokee, whatever, they had electric fans. So once you figure out your fuel injector wiring, your spark plug wiring, and you get this bitch to start, you got to fuck around. So, first time. This is a Dodge Ram computer. And yeah, it's broke. This thing ran beautiful in my Jeep until one day I decided to do something nice, like take it to the car wash. This wasn't broke. I did this, taking it apart for the 3rd fucking time. But instead of modifying my wiring harness for the coils, I bridged the gaps. I connected them together internally with, I think it's Cat 5 cable and, I don't know, some bubblegum solder that I put on there. And this thing ran great. But I threw it in there, was excited, the fucking thing ran. It was great. Life was grand. I found out what pins come off of what connector here that went to the knock sensors. I ordered the knock sensors for the 3.7 or the 3.8, one of the two. I stole the wiper motor plug. I don't know, when you're tearing the parts off the van to get the coil, staring right in your face underneath the wiper switch thing for the windshield wipers is a plug. That plug, if you take a pocket knife, cut that little fishtail off, plugs right into the ignition coil or the knock sensors. So now you got both ends of the proper connector. When I did the coil mod, I basically used one of them connectors with a male and female end and made me an extension cord. I plugged in back where the coil log plugged in, and then went up to the firewall where I mounted the 6-pack coil. You can use the fuel harness converter extension cable thing. It'll work too, but the junkyard plug was $5, and it's not made in China. It's actually solid. When you plug it together, it don't fall apart. Just get it, repin it. You got the connector for the knock sensors and the connector to extend your wire without cutting your harness up to do the 6-pack mod. That's what I did. It worked. The fan relay. Jeep never had an electric fan. What I did, I took a 194 bulb, put a bulb socket on it, and wired it up to the terminals where the relay would have went. So the computer thinks when it turns on, the bulb works. The bulb burned out. Pissed me off, kept falling out of the socket. I had an extra relay in the fuse box. I just wired it to that relay. That relay didn't go anywhere other than the computer saw the coil of the relay, and life was good. The only other thing was, I was looking down through my notes, and the Jeep Wrangler, the AC pressure sensor, and the 3.7 AC high side pressure sensor are a different spot. If you want your engine light to go out, you got to wire that in or the engine light will come on, because my light kept coming on and it was the only code that was in there. And after I wired around it, because my air conditioner don't even work, it's in there. I'd like to make it work someday, but it's a Jeep. I can take the top off. Big deal. I rewired it. The code hasn't come back. I do get sporadic oxygen sensor codes. And in the beginning, I was getting some weird NOx sensor codes and oxygen sensor codes, and all I did was take that coil lug off. All them bolt holes that hold that coil lug on are perfect spots.